How to back up Windows. Hey everyone, Leo Notenboom here for askleo.com. If you've followed me for any amount of time, you've probably gotten the impression that I'm a huge fan of backing up. Windows includes several tools that, when used in conjunction with a third-party tool, provide a backup strategy that can protect you from almost anything that can go wrong. Let's learn how to use those tools properly so that we can get your backup strategy started. Now, this video is going to reference a bunch of other Ask Leo articles and Ask Leo videos to walk you through the various steps that I'm talking about. If you're watching this on YouTube, you'll find all those links in the description below. One of the questions that always comes up is, what about Windows 7 backup? Prior versions of this actual video relied on using the Windows 7 Backup and Restore tool that was, and actually still is, built into both Windows 10 and 11. As of sometime in 2020, or perhaps even earlier, Microsoft decided to pull the plug on the Windows 7 Backup and Restore tool. At the least, it has been deprecated and will be removed in a future Windows update. The official word from Microsoft is that you should use a third-party utility to back up instead. So that's what we'll do. We'll use the free edition of Aces To Do. Of course, there are other third-party tools that do this, but Aces To Do is one of my recommendations, along with File History and OneDrive to learn 8 tasks involved in a robust backup plan. Number 1, make regular images. Start by making an image backup of your computer. It doesn't matter if you don't know what to do with it. That'll come later. Creating an image of your computer gives you a known point to which you can always return should anything go wrong. My article, Creating a Backup Image Using Aces To Do Free, explains how to create an image backup of your system to an external hard disk. And then I also have 2 YouTube videos, installing Aces To Do Free and backing up with Aces To Do Free. This is something you'll want to do periodically and ideally automate. Number 2, make a recovery disk. To recover an image, to restore your computer to operating order when something bad happens, you'll need what Aces calls an emergency disk. You may want to create a Windows recovery drive as well. This is a disk, again a drive or a USB thumb drive, from which to boot. It includes additional tools to examine and possibly repair your system, as well as the ability to reinstall Windows from scratch if needed. Creating an Aces To Do emergency disk explains how to create that recovery disk, or Aces To Do. How to create a Windows recovery drive illustrates the process of creating a recovery drive. How do I boot from a USB thumb drive is something about making sure you can actually successfully boot from those recovery drives you've just created. Out on YouTube, I have Creating an Aces To Do emergency disk. Number 3, restoring an image is the process of taking a backup image you've previously created and putting it back on your computer's hard drive, which erases anything currently on that hard drive. An image restore is what you do after replacing a faulty hard drive with a new empty hard drive. Restoring an image using Aces To Do shows how to restore a backup image that you've created using Aces To Do. And then on YouTube, restoring an image using Aces To Do. Number 4, restore an individual file from an image. I rely on image backups primarily because there's no question about what's in them. Everything. But sometimes you don't want to restore everything. You just want a single file, folder, or collection. You can do that from a backup image that you've created so far. Restoring a file from an Aces To Do image backup is an article that discusses restoring individual files and folders from an Aces To Do backup image. And on YouTube, restoring a file from an Aces To Do image backup. Number 5, set up file history. In addition to image backups, we could utilize some more in-the-background backups in the form of file history. File history sets aside space on your hard disk, ideally an external hard disk, perhaps even the same one containing your backup images, to which it writes copies of your data files periodically as they change. Using file history, you can recover a file as it was an hour ago, a week ago, or sometime in between, depending on how often files change and how much space you've set aside for those backups. Enable file history in Windows 10 tells you how to set it all up in Windows 10. Enable file history in Windows 11, the same for Windows 11. And on YouTube, enable file history in Windows 11. Number 6, restore a file using file history. After you've had file history running for a while, you'll almost certainly encounter a point where you want to recover a file that's been backed up. You'll learn how to browse what's been backed up, locate the file or files you want, and restore them. Restoring files with file history is the article, and on YouTube, same title, Restoring Files with File History. Number 7, use OneDrive for backing up. Now, I realize that OneDrive can be very complicated, very controversial, but this is actually one of its core uses and has been for a very long time. Backing up to a completely different physical location, offsite backup, has never been easier since cloud storage and synchronization tools like OneDrive came along. The article, Using OneDrive for Nearly Continuous Backup, shows you how and discusses a couple of simple changes in your workflow that can result in almost continuous cloud backup of all your work. On YouTube, same title, Using OneDrive for Nearly Continuous Backup. Number 8, restore a file from OneDrive history. Just like file history, the day is going to come where you need to recover a file that's been backed up to the cloud. The article, Recovered Deleted Files in OneDrive, points out that OneDrive has an online recycle bin from which you can recover deleted files. Recovering from ransomware with an online backup discusses how it could even save you from ransomware. On YouTube, Recover Deleted Files in OneDrive and Recovering from Ransomware with an Online Backup. Backing up is important. I say it so often because it's so true. I also say it because I see so much data loss and accompanying heartbreak occur when people don't realize just how important it is until it's too late. Used together, these 8 steps and 3 tools, image backups, file history, and OneDrive, can ensure you're appropriately backed up and need never suffer data loss again. For updates, for comments, for links related to this topic and more, visit askleo.com/30103. I'm Leo Notenboom, and this is askleo.com. Thanks for watching.